The present moment is never unbearable. Marcus Aurelius says, ask yourself, what is so unbearable about this? And you will be embarrassed if you answer truthfully. We only imagine things to be unbearable when we add past or future to the present. We imagine having to bear what we are going through for years and years to come, forgetting the fact that this too shall pass. It always has. If you find this video and you are happy, then there is a good chance that you were sad at one point in your life, but you aren't right now. That passed. And if you find this video and you are sad, then it's also good to remember that you have been sad before and you've come out of it and you've been happy. It's in a constant rhythm, cycles, ups and downs. And that's why you can't put your well-being in these emotions, because it's a constant up and down motion. But I find the only time I ever find myself down or in a bad place is when I'm catastrophizing events. I'm making it out to be more than it is. Something is happening in the present moment, and then I build on top of it. The present moment is the foundation, but then I build a whole skyscraper of problems and worries because of the future, or even the past. The past can come in and help build this skyscraper of worry as well. Thinking about potentially all the time you've wasted in the past, doing things that you wish you didn't do, or things you regret, spending time with people that aren't even a part of your life anymore, that you wish you never spent time with, so on and so forth. But I think the biggest one that comes is when you start thinking about the future. You could be in a job you don't like, or you could just be getting through a breakup, or you could be doing something that you just don't really want to do. And then you let yourself leave the present moment and add that this feeling is going to last for years and years to come. You may be lonely, and you imagine the rest of your life being lonely. And then this one day that you have to spend alone, you just can't bear it. But then the next day, you're in a company of a lot of people, and you're like, wow, I wish I had some solitude, But the second you get solitude, you'll just do the same thing again. And then we're in this constant flux of, never being happy where we are. And it's sad. It's truly sad. But the present moment is never unbearable until it is. But that brings its own ending with it, and that is death. If something is ever truly unbearable, you don't have to worry, because it's not going to last long. You will die. And if it is bearable, then bear it. Marcus Aurelius has another quote where he says, if this is endurable, then endure it. There's nothing else to do than endure it. And it's safe to say, if you're watching this video, all the things that have ever happened to you were endurable. They did pass. This too shall pass. They did pass, and, whether you handled them good or you handled them poorly, they pass. So might as well handle them good. Might as well be able to look back with reverence and pride on the fact that you handled the situation well. And remember, if you're very, very uncomfortable in the present moment, ask yourself, how is this working out for me? Is this helping me become, happy, a better person? Am I getting anything that I want out of this? Or am I just making this out to be more than it is and ruining my present moment in turn? And all we ever have is the present moment. The past is always dead, and the future is always doubtful. The present moment is all we truly have to gain or lose. But so few find themselves living in the present moment. They either find themselves yearning for the future or dreading the past. And the sad part about both is that you're never able to enjoy the present moment because you've built such a habit of doing one or the other. You're either always dreading the past, so you're never able to even enjoy moments that you've been, trying to enjoy, or you're always yearning for the future, which is the worst of the two, I believe, and the harder of the two to get out of. Because in always yearning for the future, you're never where your feet are. Your brain is never where your feet are. Therefore, you are never there. You're always thinking about what's next. Even if it's all goal orientated, and in today's society, good and productive, you never allow yourself to truly take a win. You never allow yourself to just truly be where your feet are. You're always thinking about what's next. And it's sad because you could have a goal in mind of something that you truly want, that you're going to sacrifice a lot of time and stuff for. And you tell yourself, okay, when I get that, I'll enjoy it. When I get that, then I'll take it easy. Then I'll take some rest. I can just, ride that enjoyment out and I'll be fine. But you've built this habit of yearning for the future and always striving for more that you won't be able to enjoy it. That's not how it works. You don't just snap habits like that, especially ones that deeply rooted. And hedonic adaptation always sets in. And, this thing that you thought was so amazing and so going to give you happiness the rest of your life is soon going to be your new baseline. And if you aren't content with having enough, if the Tao Te Ching says true wealth is knowing what is enough. And if you never know what enough is, you will never be content and you will never be happy. And it's a balancing act because we live in a material world. We live in a physical body, so we do need to strive and live in the material physical world, but balance, the middle way, understanding that it's good to strive for these things and it's good to make a change in the world, but you can't place your well-being in them. You can't expect these things to bring you everlasting happiness because they never brought anyone everlasting happiness if they didn't already have it. And if they already had it, it didn't add to it. It was just something there. It didn't give them happiness, it didn't add to their happiness, and it didn't take it away. It was just something that accompanied it. But people get into the problem of depending on their happiness being, like they think happiness is equivalent with like $1 million in financial freedom. But they never think about what they're going to want to do when they're financially free. They're not going to just be able to turn off all their productive switches and just, rest and take it easy and enjoy leisure the rest of their life. They're going to go insane. They're going to want to do what they've always done, produce and get more money. And because, everyone always lives outside of their means to a certain extent. And the more money you get, the more money you spend, and then the more money you think you need. And everyone's stuck in this loophole in this material world thinking you need all these things that you don't need. And they make you waste all your time to buy things that you don't need. It's a dangerous loophole. But back to the point, if you find yourself catastrophizing and lamenting and ruminating and just in a bad headspace, Ask yourself what Marcus Aurelius did. What is so unbearable about this present moment? And I believe he is correct. You will be embarrassed to admit if you answer truthfully. Because there never is anything. You think about what is causing you so much discomfort. It's either the past or the future. Even if you're in pain right now, the pain you're currently bearing the pain. The pain itself is not unbearable. It's your magnification of the pain. Imagining having to bear this pain for another whole day or another whole week or another whole year. That's what's making the moment feel so unbearable. But if you just condense your pain to the moment, it's bearable and it's fleeting. Always condense these emotions to the moment and they lose all their power. It's when we magnify them with the future and or the past, typically the future, that we find ourselves in bad places, bad states of mind. We act like these things are going to last forever, but time goes by so quick. Time passes so quickly. And often the things that we were waiting for, or that we thought would never come and we were waiting for with such, hope and reverence, they're years in the past. Or things that we were dreading in the future are years in the past now. And we wasted so much time dreading it, and it turned out, one, to not be that bad, and two, it means nothing to us now. That presentation that you gave in high school that you were scared about giving because you were shy and, whatever it may be. Think about how trivial that is now. Think about how meaningless all of the worrying was. And, I think we worry so much because we believe it's helping us. We believe in the act of worrying we're problem solving, but we're not. Problem solving and worrying are two different things. Problem solving is okay, but worrying and letting it ruin your life is not okay. And it's not something that you should be indulging in all the time. It serves you nothing. It's trivial. It's trivial because when you think about how you're going to feel about this situation 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, you might not even remember it. And if you do remember it, you're probably just going to laugh. Laugh at how naive or how trivial it was that you thought that really mattered. And how you thought if it went south, the rest of your life was ruined. You know what I mean? That's more of that's more of a kid's thought, but I think it still exists in the realm of adults. It still exists where you think, if this happens, my life is ruined. But like I said, hedonic adaptation, we always adapt baselines. The person who becomes paralyzed and the person who wins the lottery, after a year, their their I think their dopamine baselines, or maybe not even dopamine, but just their natural happiness level baselines. That's just their new normal. And then often the recovering person, realizes they have so many steps to take to get better. And then the person who won the lottery is just all they can see is downhill because they have no other source of making income. You know what I mean? They got this big lump sum of money. Now they believe money is so important to their well-being and they're getting none of it in. And they're probably not going to win the lottery again. So they're just going down. And then this person's going up. So in a funny way, the person who became paralyzed is better off than the person who gained money. Musonius Rufus, a Stoic, says he's having a dialogue with one of his students, and I think it was about something that he did, and this person asked him for money, and he gave him money. And they asked him, they said, "Why'd you give this man money? He's a bad man, he's this, he's that, etc." And Musonius Rufus said, if this is true, I gave him exactly what he deserves. If bad people get a hold of money, they don't use it right, and they usually are worse off. Money is often what a bad person deserves because they won't use it correctly. They'll more or less ruin their lives, and they more or less will deal with deep seated depression after the fact they've lost all their money. So sometimes money is just what people deserve. And that's hard for this day and age to conceive that. But if you told someone, I think in antiquity, that, they would, nod with approval. They'd understand, yeah, okay, money's not good inherently. It can be used for good. It can be good, but in inherent sense of it, money has been used for bad. And money has never made anyone good. Money just brings out who you really are. If you're a good person, money will bring that out in you. If you're a bad person, money will bring that out. And that's all it does. It just brings out who you truly are. It's able to show more of what you really are. Because if you're generous, you can be more generous with more money. And if you're greedy and self-indulgent, you're going to be more greedy and more self-indulgent. All it does is bring out who you truly are. Money and power, I believe, just show more of who you are inside. So just remember, the present moment is never unbearable. It is never unbearable until it is, but then you're going to die, so it's whatever. It's going to be over soon. But just remember all of the hard times that passed. Remember all the times you thought were the worst moments of your life and how they passed, and how, in a funny way, you look back and realize that was either, one of the best things that ever happened to you, or one of the best times of your life, because you realized it was like a revolution. You were going through deep change, and it was uncomfortable and it was hard. But looking back, it was, the foundation for where you are today, and you're grateful to it. And just, reminding yourself these things and being able to reframe your mindset is very powerful. It's very powerful indeed. And don't allow yourself to add the past or the future to the present moment if you're in a bad place, because it's just going to make it worse. You're going to imagine this suffering going on forever when it probably won't even last more than a day. And then you'll look back and you'll be frustrated at yourself for wasting all this time when it was going to pass anyways. So ask yourself, what is so unbearable about this present moment? I'm sure you'll be embarrassed to answer.